Hello and welcome, I am o Jogador Intemporal and this is a mini documentary exploring the game Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes in the West. We're going to quickly explain the game, talk about the launch history, reasons for why it failed to find an audience, the news about no sequel ever coming to the West again, and why that's a big loss even when we have other games of the same genre. Also, I do not own a capture card, so the footage was captured using the awesome PlayStation 3 emulator RPCS3. Words alone cannot express how incredible the project is. Thank you. Without further ado, enjoy! Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes is an action, beaten-up, Musou-style game. Just like Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, Hyrule Warriors, and many other Warriors games. It was developed by Capcom, the same Capcom that brought us Resident Evil, Dino Crisis and Monster Hunter. This game is what happens when you blend the one-man army Musou style with the unmistakably addictive action in Devil May Cry. A simple, yet deeply satisfying game with a lot of replayability. There are 16 unique characters, each with its own playstyle, moves, weapons, items. While the Warriors games have hundreds of characters, once you play one of them you can easily figure out how to best play the rest. That is not the case with Sengoku Basara. Every character requires a different approach, and that provides that feeling of mastering each one of them. You can level up, unlocking new moves, you can hunt random fugitives in each stage to increase your luck, attack and defense stats. You can randomly unlock better weapons by beating stages in harder difficulties. You can grind each stage for their special materials, which you can then use to create stronger accessories, making your character even stronger. You can level up your AI companion. Also, every character has a set of 4 unique accessories that give some kind of special ability. For instance, Magoichi Saikas allows her to fire rockets instead of regular bullets, though not every personal item is useful. There's a little over 30 states, a few of them being different scenarios where things happen differently, like playing with or against the same army. Still, that's just all secondary. The fun comes from bashing whole armies constantly, each time faster and with style. You've been watching some gameplay. Due to a lack of time and skill, it may not be as cool looking as combo videos out there, but I assure you, it feels good now as it did 200 hours ago when I first started playing. As you play with each character, you start getting used to the moves, how long they take to pull off, what works and what doesn't against enemies, which moves work well together and which ones are best saved for a finishing attack. It's beautiful. Some generals even have somewhat hidden mechanics, like charged attacks for extra hits, timed attacks for extra projectiles. Doing them by chance at first and slowly figuring out how to perfectly execute them feels amazing. The story is over the top, characters are over-stylized, the voice actors did such a great job, 2 of them being Troy Baker and Liam O'Brien.
At long last, I'll have my chance to slice you to slivers! For the sake of the suffering across these lands, I'm ending this here and now!
The cutscenes are nice to watch, the opening movie and song, it's really good, but I can't show you because of copyright. Not to say it is a perfect game. These tutorial messages are shown every time you play the stages, and the difficulty isn't high enough. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, you can easily be defeated and lose 15 or more minutes on a stage. But after you max out your character, it does become too easy. It isn't that funny to willingly use worse equipment to get a better challenge after you spent dozens of hours making your character powerful. To the uninitiated, you may not know, but this is the third main game of the series. In Japan, there was Sengoku Basara 1, 2 and 3. The last one, which was completely localized in English as Samurai Heroes. And of course, there's spin-offs. So, is this the first game of the series to be brought to the West? No, actually this is the second one. The first Sengoku Basara was brought to the West by the name Devil Kings for the PlayStation 2, along with many changes. Historic names were changed to stupid names. Kesuga was called Venus, Kenshin Uesugi was called Frost, Nobunaga Oda was Devil King, Tadakatsu Honda was Iron Ox. Others included Scorpio, Lady Butterfly, Talon, Red Minotaur, and so on. Knowing that, it is clear that they got it right with Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes. Everything was translated and dubbed, with minimal changes to the game itself. Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes was released in 2010. After that, they also released Sengoku Basara 3 Utage, which is a special version of 3, remixed with many additions, including new playable characters, later releasing Sengoku Basara 4 and even Sengoku Basara 4 Sumeragi. None of them saw a Western release, which for me and many fans is really sad. And here we are, what happened? Why is that Samurai Heroes was the second and last title in the West? Just like anything else, it all comes down to money. Both Devil Kings and Samurai Heroes failed to find an audience big enough to justify the costs. They didn't sell well, better explained and validated by community members than in the Capcom Unity forum. Links in the description if you want to check it yourself. He said, "Sorry mate, Basara is Japan focused and meant only for that territory. There's no way you're going to convince me that a significant enough number of people are going to buy a Basara title in North America at a reasonable price point. We've tried twice now, across 2 generations." He says that the sales performed bad even with the title being released at a budget price, and that the game is sustainable enough in Japan to keep it there. And no matter how you look at the sales number, it failed in every possible way. He thanks our passion and says that it just isn't viable with the amount of resources they have. In his last message, he concludes that the past performance is abysmal, and that they did everything they could with advertising, even with bigger than usual marketing expenses, and lots of press tours, the game just didn't find an audience. Now that we know that, we can discuss what could have been done differently. First of all, dumbing down a game like they did with the first Sengoku Basara has consequences. It isolates the same already small audience into even smaller groups, makes it harder for fans to find, create and gather resources, and effectively doubles the marketing resources required. For now it's like you're selling 2 different games to 2 different markets. Worse yet, such distinct names as Sengoku Basara and Devil Kings make it impossible for any regular person to connect the two. How many people may have enjoyed Devil Kings like I did, and have no idea that newer and better games from the same company and style exists? Second, it isn't hard to look at Tecmo Koei Omega Force, I dare say the biggest name when it comes to this genre, and copy their strategy. Most of their games from the last 6 or more years have only text translated to English, like menus, items, subtitles, names, the voices being only available in Japanese. Right there we have 2 advantages. Not only it is much cheaper because now they don't have to hire voice actors and spend a lot on dubbed voices. Many people like myself prefer to use the Japanese voices anyway when the choice is present. sometimes using English voices for fun because of how hilarious they can be.
You flaming idiots! Take this!
Or even ignore the subtitles altogether and translate only what is essential to the gameplay, like items, skills, menus. I imported the Japanese version of Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes, and it's too hard. This game allows for a deep customization to fit your personal playstyle, and thus the language barrier makes it too tiring to really enjoy the game, even when using some great resources available. I would pay or buy the game again if only I could get those translated. I don't care about subtitles and story and anything else, and I'm sure many would do the same. Third, yes, I can clearly see their lack of will because of the past sales, but let's examine the context. Devil Kings came out of nowhere in the last year before the next console generation, 1 year before PlayStation 3, when the internet wasn't as widespread as it is now. As said before, the name has no connection to anything. The same year, 2005, saw the release of Gran Turismo 4, Tekken 5, Devil May Cry 3, God of War, Destroy All Humans, Burnout Revenge, along with many other huge titles. But wait, it's even worse. Released on the same month, October of 2005, competing with Devil Kings, were SSX on Tour, The Warriors, Shadow of the Colossus, Resident Evil 4, and Soul Calibur 3. Later in the year, we got Need for Speed Most Wanted and Guitar Hero. Those are just a few of the big names. The year was full of releases everywhere. So, a new game with a weird name and no connection, competing with huge titles from the same company and many others. Could it be worse? Unfortunately, yes. Even those who actually got to play the game had a really bad experience. Devil Kings is hard. Like, hard. That game is unforgiving and really unfair. In the localization process, they increased the difficulty. Easy being the normal difficulty in the original version, normal being hard. They removed 4 playable characters, changed the gameplay with a stupid priming system that forces you to regularly use attacks you wouldn't use otherwise, and which removes freedom. Yeah, Devil Kings had everything against it. Bad timing, bad marketing, bad decisions, overall a bad game unless you really enjoyed the difficulty and style like I did. With all that, we can look at it, understand that it was built to fail and accept it. 1 year later they released Sengoku Basara 2, months later Sengoku Basara 2 Heroes, no Western release, understandably. Bringing us to 2010 and the main focus of this video, Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes. Now, what was done wrong? Well, it's harder to say. I guess the thing they did wrong was doing it right. Too right. Way too right. While this time they kept the name, which is good, they added Samurai Heroes. It's just too big a name for a new game. Can you imagine someone talking about it to a friend? Oh, hey, check out this game. It's like Devil May Cry and Dynasty Warriors. I'm loving it. Okay, cool, what's the name? Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes. Oh, okay, Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes. I'll remember it later, for sure, yeah, for sure. Why not simply Sengoku Basara 3? Yeah, I guess people wouldn't want to play the third game of a series without playing the first two. But still, context needs to be remembered, and the style of the game doesn't require you to know anything. Or just pretend it is the first. It's not like you'd notice anything missing by not playing the previous titles. The voice acting is amazing and it alone probably took a huge investment. So it faces part of the same problem as Devil Kings. It's just like a random new release. No one ever heard of it in the West, and while it is a great game, it was shadowed by other big releases of 2010, like Bayonetta, Red Dead Redemption, Bioshock 2, another 2 Warrior games from Tecmo Koei, God of War 3, Street Fighter 4, and so many more. Sure, you may be thinking again, these aren't the same style. Sure, but we need to keep in mind how niche Musou games are. As much as I would love to see it explode, there just isn't enough people interested. I said something about it in my Samurai Warriors 2 video. There's a lot of preconception about the style, how monotonous it can be, and look, there is truth to that. Though if you look the same way at other games, you'll find the same. It's not a problem of the genre, it's how you look at it. But I digress. Maybe they should have spent less, kept the Japanese voices only, and saved the money for the next installment, as it was released 1 year later. They probably were already working on it. Maybe the savings of not having English voice actors would make it feasible to translate Sengoku Basara 3 Utage the same way. Of course, that's all supposition. I really liked this game and wanted it to be alive in the West.
The brutish is necessary for combat. Oh, glorious sun, blessed, what worth are those people? They matter less than pawns.
Finally, what's the big deal? While Tecmo Koei Omega Force have made changes to every new Warriors game. As I said before, the gameplay does feel too familiar. Instead of learning how to best use each character in each new game, the attack pattern and even the animation themselves are the same between multiple games. So the fun rests in leveling up and learning how to use the special mechanics of each new game. It's not enough. If it isn't clear by now, I am a lover of this genre, but it sucks to have no big innovation. Other than Sengoku Basara, the only other big name of the style is 1999 Nights 1 and 2, Xbox 360 exclusives. So we're stuck with all the Warriors games and their spin-offs here in the West, which is by no means bad. I'm grateful for them, and they are different enough to keep me entertained. Put simply, it's just never enough. The Musou genre needs more love. You've been watching footage from Sengoku Basara 4 Sumeragi on the PlayStation 4, and without making this video even longer, it suffices to say that the gameplay is so much better than Samurai Heroes. It's prettier, plays faster and smoother, has more characters and deeper customization. It's a perfect game, if only we could ignore the language barrier. The video quality doesn't do it justice because it was captured by the PlayStation 4 itself and not a direct feed. It's really clean and high definition, miles better than Samurai Heroes. I dream of the day we get all Sengoku Basara games remastered and translated. If Monster Hunter was able to make the jump and have such huge success, maybe Sengoku Basara someday also gets the love it deserves. I'll be here, waiting, patiently, as long as I'm allowed on this earth. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, do let me know in the comments. Leave your like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.
So many adventures, to think it's brought me here. Such is life. And that is why it is my destiny to unite us all and unite our country!